All right, ready to dive deep. Today, it's all about agile software development.
Agile, yeah.
Going way past just buzzwords here.
Right, like beyond just Scrum and sprints.
Exactly. We're using excerpts from a book on agile, going deep into how this whole thing really works.
The real deal.
Yeah, maybe even see where those old school management styles went off track.
The old ways. Well, what's fascinating with Agile is it's like a complete flip. It's not about those rigid plans, and top-down control. It's about empowering teams to adapt and deliver value fast. Think of it almost like a reaction against all that bureaucracy.
Oh, tell me about it. Who hasn't been frustrated with that?
I know, right? You get stuck in paperwork, approvals. By the time you're actually allowed to finish something, it's practically obsolete.
Ugh, it's the worst.
It is, and this book, it dives deep into the Agile Manifesto, which almost feels like, I don't know, like a rebellion against that whole way of thinking.
Totally, yeah.
Yeah, the manifesto, it highlights 4 core values. And the first one, this is important, it's individuals and interactions over processes and tools, right?
Right.
It's recognizing that the people, how they actually work together, that's more important than rigid systems.
It makes you think how often companies get so fixated on the process, and completely forget about the actual human beings doing the work.
That's it. That's what they miss. And then there's another one. This is a good one too. Working software over comprehensive documentation.
Okay.
It's about delivering tangible results, not getting bogged down in writing these endless specs that never really quite capture reality.
So it's like prioritizing action, results over endless planning.
Exactly. Get it done, get it out there. And then number 3, this is about the customer. Customer collaboration over contract.
Ooh, interesting.
Agile, it emphasizes close relationships with the client, getting constant feedback so the product actually meets their needs as they evolve.
Instead of that whole sign on the dotted line and we'll deliver whatever WE decided mentality.
Oh yeah, ditch that contract, get with the customer. And finally, responding to change over following a plan. This is huge, EE.
Okay, tell me more about that one.
Agile, it acknowledges that change is going to happen. It's inevitable.
Oh, it is for sure.
Right, so instead of resisting it, you build systems that can actually adapt.
Which, let's face it, is how life works. Things rarely go exactly according to plan.
You got it. So these 4 values, these are the foundation, the bedrock of Agile.
They're good ones.
They are. But then the question is, how do you translate that into actual methods you can use?
Right, how do you actually put it into practice?
That's where things get really interesting. And we can start with Scrum.
Scrum. The one everybody's heard of, at least. Short sprints, daily stand-ups. What's the real deal with this framework?
Right, so Scrum, it's all about delivering value, but in these short, predictable cycles. They call them sprints, usually like 2 weeks long. Each sprint, it has a clear goal and a set of tasks that the team decides on together. It's like taking a massive project, breaking it down into manageable pieces.
So you're not trying to plan everything perfectly from the start.
No.
You're iterating as you go.
You got it. You're constantly adjusting. Now, within each sprint, you have 4 key events.
Okay.
First, sprint planning. That's where the team decides what they're working on, how they're going to approach it. Then there are those daily stand-up meetings, quick check-ins. Everyone shares their progress, flags any roadblocks.
So constant communication, total transparency, making sure everyone's in sync.
Exactly. You got it. You're all on the same page. Then, at the end of the sprint, there's a sprint review.
Okay.
The team demonstrates the working software, gets feedback from stakeholders.
So it's not just building in a vacuum, you're getting input from the people who will actually use the product.
You're getting that real-world feedback. Crucial. And finally, this one's important, the sprint retrospective.
Okay, tell me about that.
It's where the team reflects what went well, what didn't, and how to improve the process for the next sprint.
So it's like built-in continuous improvement. You're constantly learning from your experience.
Constantly evolving, getting better each time. Now, this book, it actually gives a great example of a tech startup that used Scrum to build a mobile app.
Interesting. How did that go?
Well, they were struggling. They couldn't keep up with the market, but once they brought in Scrum, they were able to release updates much faster.
So they really became more agile, literally.
Precisely. Their cycle shrunk, they could react to customer feedback faster, and their app just blew up in popularity.
It's like they went from a lumbering giant to a speedboat.
That's a great way to put it. But, of course, let's be real, not every team is going to thrive on that fast-paced Scrum rhythm, and that's where Kanban comes in, right?
Right, Kanban. Another popular one.
Yeah.
So break it down for me. How does Kanban actually work in practice?
Well, picture a board. It could be physical, it could be digital, and it's got columns. Each column represents a different stage of development. Every task is written on a card. As the task progresses, you move it across the board.
Oh, I've seen those.
Exactly. And this visualization, it makes it really easy to see bottlenecks where work is piling up.
So it's like a real-time snapshot of your team's workload.
It is, it is. And one of the key principles of Kanban is actually limiting work in progress.
Okay.
You set limits. How many tasks can be in each column at any given time?
Got it.
This prevents teams from taking on too much at once, ensures a smooth flow of work.
Makes sense. It's like making sure you don't overload your plate at a buffet.
Exactly. Take what you can handle, finish it, then go back for more.
Love that analogy.
Right. Now think about your own work. Ever felt swamped, like too many tasks?
Oh, all the time.
Right. Well, Kanban can help visualize what you're working on, prioritize, get things done smoother.
That's the goal. Okay, now let's talk about this one. Extreme programming, or XP. This one sounds, I don't know, intense.
It's got a certain ring to it, doesn't it?
It does. So is this like agile taken to the extreme?
In a way, yeah. XP, it takes those core agile values, pushes them even further, really emphasizes customer satisfaction, close collaboration.
Okay, give me the highlights. What makes XP so extreme?
Well, one key practice is pair programming. Two developers working together at the same workstation.
Oh, wow.
Might sound strange, but it actually leads to higher quality code, faster development.
Huh. Two heads are better than one, I guess, especially when you're debugging code.
Exactly. Another key practice is test-driven development, or TDD.
Okay.
You write the tests before you write the code.
Interesting.
So you ensure it meets the requirements from the get-go.
So it's like building that safety net right from the start. You're preventing problems rather than reacting to them later.
Precisely. You're ahead of the game. Now, the book highlights a case study, Xerox. They successfully implemented XP.
Wow, big company. How did it go for them?
Well, their productivity doubled, their lead times were cut in half, and customer satisfaction up by 30%.
Whoa, those are some serious results. Sounds like they unlocked a whole new level of efficiency.
They did. They really did. But let's be real, agile is not always a walk in the park, is it?
Right, there's got to be some downsides, some challenges.
There are. There are. No methodology is perfect. Agile can be tough, especially if a team's not really ready for the change in mindset, work style. It demands a lot.
Well, let's talk about some of those challenges. What can trip teams up when they're trying to make that shift to agile?
Well, one of the biggest ones is resistance to change. People get comfy with how they've always done things.
Right, old habits die hard.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And shifting to this collaborative, iterative approach, it can be tough.
yeah, I can imagine.
Another challenge is discipline. Agile, it requires commitment from everyone involved.
You got to be all in all the time.
You do. You can't just go through the motion. And then there's the challenge of scale. What works for a small team might not work for a huge company.
So size, complexity, those can add to the challenge.
Definitely. The book even talks about Toshiba, their struggles with Agile, they faced resistance, struggled to implement practices across the whole organization, experienced delays, decreased efficiency.
Wow, so a cautionary tale. It shows that agile is not one size fits all. You have to tailor it to your specific.
You do. You have to find that balance, structure, and flexibility, control, and autonomy. It's a dance.
It is. So for our listeners out there, anyone intrigued by agile, wanting to explore it further, what's some practical advice? Where do you even begin?
Start small. I can't emphasize that enough. Don't try to change everything overnight.
Baby steps.
Exactly. Pick a pilot project, a small team, experiment, see what works, what doesn't, adapt as you go.
Like dipping your toes in the water before jumping in the deep end.
Exactly. And remember, building a culture of collaboration, continuous improvement, that's key. Agile thrives in that environment.
Creating a safe space, trying new things without fear of failure.
Exactly. Exactly. And invest in your team, training, resources, give them what they need to succeed.
Makes sense. Invest in the people. So for everyone listening, I want you to think, what's one small change you could make today to bring a bit more agility into your work?
Yeah, just one small thing.
Maybe it's a quick stand-up meeting with your team, visualizing your tasks on a Kanban board. Just start somewhere, experiment, iterate. It's a journey.
It is a journey. 1,000 miles begins with a single step, right? And in the agile world, that first step can lead to a much more efficient, more fulfilling, successful way of working.
Absolutely.
Welcome back. Last time, we laid down the agile basics. But it's a big world out there.
It is. We barely scratched the surface. We touched on Scrum, Kanban, XP, but those are just the tip of the iceberg, right?
Right. There's so much more to explore.
What about all those other frameworks you hear about? Safe, less mess, next. Are those just like variations on a theme? or something totally different?
That's a great question because the agile world, it's constantly evolving. Think of it like this: Scrum, Kanban, XP, those are your core tools.
Okay.
But as organizations grow, their needs, they get more complex.
Makes sense.
That's where these scaled frameworks come in.
Okay, so it's like you need heavier machinery to build a skyscraper versus a Gardy shed.
Perfect analogy. Take SAFE, the scaled agile framework. It's designed for large enterprises where you might have multiple agile teams working on different parts of a huge project.
Oh, wow, yeah. So how do you keep all those teams aligned, moving in the same direction? That seems like a challenge.
That's what SAFE tries to solve. It provides a structure for coordinating all those teams, aligning their work with the overall business goals, make sure everyone's on the same page.
It's like having an air traffic controller for agile teams. Make sure they don't collide in midair.
Exactly. Then there's less large-scale Scrum. This one, as the name suggests, it's about scaling up Scrum itself. It really focuses on keeping things simple, minimizing that organizational overhead.
So it's like supersized Scrum.
Yeah.
But still with that emphasis on self-organizing teams, iterative development.
Exactly. Still about empowering those teams. And then there's a Nexus. This framework's specifically designed to address the challenges of integrating work done by multiple Scrum teams.
So if you've got several Scrum teams working on different parts of a product, Nexus helps them kind of mesh their efforts together seamlessly.
Precisely. It's all about smooth integration. Now, with so many frameworks, I know it can feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
The key is understanding there's no one perfect solution. The right framework, it depends on your organization, the size, the complexity, the culture, and of course, the specific project you're tackling.
So it's like choosing the right tool for the job. You wouldn't use a hammer to screw in a light bulb. But okay, once you've got your framework, your team's rolling, how do you actually measure progress? How do you know if your agile project is actually successful?
That's where agile metrics come in. These are quantifiable measures. They give you insights into how your team's performing and help identify areas for improvement.
Okay, give me some examples. What are some key agile metrics that teams should be tracking?
One important one is cycle time. It measures how long it takes to complete a task from start to finish. Gives you a sense of your team's efficiency and helps you spot any bottlenecks that are slowing things down.
So if your cycle time is consistently high, it might be a sign that there are inefficiencies in your process that need to be addressed.
Exactly. It's a red flag. Another key metric is team velocity. This measures how much work a team can complete in a sprint. Gives you an idea of your team's capacity, helps make accurate forecasts for future sprints.
So velocity is like a speedometer for your agile team. Tells you how fast you're moving.
I like that. It is. And then there's lead time, which measures how long it takes from when a request is made to when it's actually delivered to the customer. This gives you insight into how responsive your team is.
Lead time is all about speed and customer satisfaction. The shorter the lead time, the happier the customer.
Precisely. And by tracking these and other agile metrics, teams can get valuable insights, identify areas for improvement, make data-driven decisions to drive success.
It's like having a dashboard for your agile project,
Yeah.
giving you a clear view of how things are progressing. But metrics are only part of the equation, right? You can't just focus on numbers and forget about the human element.
You're absolutely right. Agile, it's all about people. It's about empowering individuals and teams to collaborate, innovate, and deliver value.
So how do you actually create a culture of agility within a team? What are some key ingredients for success?
Well, it starts with leadership. Leaders need to embrace the agile principles themselves. They need to create an environment where teams feel supported, empowered to experiment, learn, and grow.
It's about leading by example, fostering a culture of trust and transparency, and celebrating both successes and failures as opportunities for learning.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And it's crucial to establish clear communication channels, those open and honest feedback loops. Teams need to feel comfortable sharing their ideas, voicing concerns, giving and receiving constructive criticism.
So it's about creating a safe space where people can speak their minds and collaborate effectively without fear of judgment or retribution.
Precisely. Psychological safety is paramount. And don't underestimate the power of tools and technology. They can facilitate collaboration, communication, and knowledge sharing.
Right. It's a digital age. There are so many great tools out there to help agile teams work more efficiently and effectively.
You said it. Tools like Jira, Trello, Asana, Slack, Zoom, and Pillar, incredibly helpful for managing tasks, tracking progress, communicating, and collaborating. Whether your team's co-located or distributed.
It's about choosing the right tools for your team's needs and integrating them seamlessly into your workflow. But tools are just enablers, right? The real magic happens when you combine those tools with the right mindset, culture, and practices.
Absolutely. Agile is not about blindly following a set of rules or using a particular tool. It's about embracing a philosophy, a way of working that empowers individuals and teams to deliver value, adapt to change, and continuously improve.
It's about being flexible, responsive, and customer-focused. It's about embracing change as an opportunity for growth.
Exactly. And it's a journey, not a destination. There's always room for improvement, always something new to learn, always ways to become more agile.
Speaking of journeys, transitioning to agile, it's rarely smooth sailing. What are some common challenges teams face when making the shift from traditional project management to agile?
One of the biggest hurdles is letting go of old habits. Traditional project management, it often relies on rigid plans, strict hierarchies, a waterfall approach to development. Agile, it's all about flexibility, collaboration, and iterative development.
It sounds like a pretty significant mindset shift. It's like going from driving a car with an automatic transmission to driving a stick shift.
That's a great analogy. And just like learning to drive a stick shift, it takes time, practice, and patience to master agile.
And what about the role of leadership in this transition? How can leaders help their teams successfully embrace agile?
Leaders, they need to be champions for change. They need to articulate the vision, communicate the benefits, provide the necessary training and support. They need to create an environment that fosters experimentation and learning.
So it's about more than just saying we're going agile. It's about truly embodying those agile values, creating a culture that supports this new way of working.
Precisely. Leaders need to walk the walk, not just talk the talk. They need to be role models, empowering their teams to take ownership and make decisions.
It's about creating a culture where people feel trusted, valued, and inspired to do their best work.
You got it. And don't underestimate the power of celebrating successes and learning from failure. Agile, it's all about continuous improvement, and that means embracing both the good and the bad as opportunities for growth.
It's about creating a culture where it's okay to fail, as long as you learn from your mistakes and keep iterating.
Exactly. Now, no discussion about Agile will be complete without mentioning the role of testing. In the Agile world, testing, it's not an afterthought. It's an integral part of the process.
Right. You can't just build something and hope it works. You need to continuously test and refine to make sure you're delivering a quality product.
Exactly. Agile testing, it's all about testing early, testing often, integrating testing into every single stage.
So it's like baking a cake, right? You don't just throw all the ingredients in the oven and hope for the best. You taste the batter along the way, adjust the sweetness, maybe add a pinch more salt to make sure the final product is delicious.
That's a great analogy. And just like with baking, there are different types of testing that are done in Agile.
Like what? What are some of the key testing practices?
Well, there's unit testing. That focuses on testing individual units of code in isolation. You want to make sure they function correctly.
So it's like making sure each ingredient in your cake batter is perfect before you mix them all together.
Exactly. Then there's integration testing. This checks how different parts of the system work together.
So you're making sure the chocolate chips and the walnuts play nicely together in the batter.
Precisely. And then there's acceptance testing, which tests the software against the user requirements to make sure it meets the customer's needs.
So this is like the final taste test, making sure the cake actually tastes good and meets the expectations of the person you baked it for.
Spot on. In Agile testing, it often involves automation that can significantly enhance efficiency and accuracy.
Automation, that's where those cool tools like Selenium and JUnit come in.
Got it. Selenium's great for automating web application testing, while JUnit's widely used for unit testing in Java. These tools, they help streamline the process, make it faster, more reliable, and less prone to human error.
So it's like having a robot taste tester that can sample every batch of cake batter with perfect consistency.
Exactly. But even with the best tools and practices, testing can still be challenging. Software is becoming more complex. User expectations are constantly evolving. It's an ongoing process, requires planning, execution, and analysis.
It's about finding the right balance, speed and quality, automation, and human oversight. And sometimes, even with the best efforts, things don't always go according to plan. That brings us to technical debt.
Ah, yes, technical debt. It's a bit like financial debt. Instead of owing money, you owe time and effort to fix things that were maybe done quickly, but not optimally.
So it's like taking a shortcut that might save you time in the short term, but could end up costing you more in the long run.
Exactly. Imagine building a house, but opting for cheaper, lower quality materials to save money up front. Sure, you might finish the house sooner, but down the road, you'll probably have more repairs, more maintenance costs, maybe even structural issues. Technical debt is similar.
So how do you manage this technical debt in an agile environment? Do you just try to avoid it altogether, or is there a way to pay it down strategically?
Avoiding it completely, that's tough. Sometimes you got to make trade-offs, meet deadlines, deliver those features fast. The key is to be aware of the debt you're incurring, document it, and create a plan to address it strategically.
So it's like managing your personal finances. You need to track your spending, create a budget, and prioritize paying down your debts before they spiral out of control.
Perfect analogy. There are specific practices that help. Writing clean, well-documented code, regularly refactoring to improve design, and addressing bugs quickly Those can all reduce the buildup.
It's like keeping your house clean and organized. The more you tidy up, put things away, the less clutter you'll have over time.
Exactly. A well-maintained code base, it's just easier to work with, more efficient, and less prone to errors, just like a clean house is more pleasant to live in.
Makes sense. Now let's talk about one of the most important ceremonies in agile development, the retrospective. It sounds a bit like a therapy session for developers.
In a way it is. Perspectives are all about reflecting. What went well, what could be improved, how to make the next sprint even better.
So it's a time for the team to gather, share their experiences, and brainstorm ways to work smarter, not harder.
Exact. Create a safe, supportive environment for these discussions. Team members need to feel comfortable sharing honest feedback, both good and bad, without fear of judgment.
It's about fostering that culture of continuous learning and improvement, where everyone feels empowered to contribute their ideas.
Precisely. But retrospectives, they're more than just talk. They need to lead to action.
Right? Get to walk the walk.
Exact. Actionable insights, tangible changes. So are you seeing positive changes in the team's performance, delivery speed, code quality? Those are good indicators.
So measure the impact. Make sure those retrospectives are actually making a difference. Now, with the rise of remote work, it's becoming more and more important to know how to manage remote agile teams effectively.
Absolutely. The world of work is changing. More and more teams are distributed, different locations, time zones. It's the new reality.
It is. So how do you harness the opportunities and overcome the challenges of remote work? How do you create a high-performing remote agile team? What are the secrets?
Well, first, embrace the tools. The tools that facilitate remote collaboration. Slack, Zoom, Trello. They can help teams communicate, share information, track progress, no matter where they are.
It's like having a virtual office. Everyone can connect, collaborate seamlessly.
Exactly. But tools alone, they're not enough. You need clear communication protocols, expectations. When are people available? How will meetings be run? What channels for different types of communication?
So create a structure that provides clarity, consistency, even when you're not physically together.
Exactly. And just as important as structure, fostering a sense of community, connection, virtual team building activities, social events, opportunities for informal interaction, those can help.
Yeah, create that virtual water cooler. Connect, share ideas, build those relationships, even if you're miles apart.
Right. Strong relationships, they're fundamental. Doesn't matter if you're co-located or distributed. Now, how do you measure performance in this remote world?
That's a good question. You can't just rely on traditional performance metrics when people are working remotely.
You're right. You need to focus on metrics that are relevant to remote work. Communication frequency, task completion rates, code quality. Adapt your approach.
And are there specific tools that can help track those remote-specific metrics?
Absolutely. Time tracking software, project management platforms, code quality analysis tools, they can provide valuable insight.
So it's like having a virtual supervisor who's always watching, even when you can't physically see your team.
Exactly. And just like with co-located teams, regular feedback is crucial for remote agile teams. Even though you're not physically together, you can still have those one-on-ones, performance reviews, opportunities for professional development. Use video conferencing, online learning platforms, collaboration software. There are so many options.
So managing a remote agile team successfully, it's all about adapting to this new reality. Embrace the tools, establish clear communication, foster that sense of community, adapt your performance measurement, provide regular feedback. It's a whole new ballgame.
It is. Remote work, it's got opportunities and challenges. Embrace the opportunity, address the challenge. You can create a high-performing remote agile team that can achieve amazing things.
So wrapping up part 2, let's zoom out, look at the big picture for a moment.
Agile, it's more than just methodologies, practices, tool. It's a philosophy, a mindset, a way of working that embraces change, collaboration, continuous improvement.
It's about being adaptable, responsive, customer-focused, always striving to deliver value. And while Agile revolutionized software development, its principles, they can be applied anywhere, any field, any project, any team.
Exactly. That's the beauty of it. It's a versatile set of principles. Adapt and apply them to any context where you need speed, flexibility, continuous improvement.
So whether you're building software, launching a marketing campaign, planning a family vacation, Agile principles can help you succeed.
It's about being open to change, embracing collaboration, focusing on delivering value. Have the courage to experiment, learn from your mistakes, continuously improve. Agile, it's a journey, and it's a journey worth taking.
It is. Now, before we move on, I think it's inspiring to hear about companies that have really embraced Agile and seen amazing results transform their organization.
Oh, absolutely. Some amazing success stories out there.
Yeah. What are some of your favorites?
Well, one of the most famous examples is Spotify, the music streaming giant. They adopted Agile to scale their operations, keep up with the fast-paced music industry.
Wow, Spotify. So they used Agile to become the powerhouse they are today. What did they do? What changes did they make?
Well, they moved away from those traditional hierarchies, created autonomous cross-functional teams, empowered to make decisions, innovate, and they fostered that culture of experimentation and continuous improvement. so they could adapt quickly to market changes and user behavior.
So they basically became one giant agile team, constantly iterating, adapting to stay ahead of the curve.
Exactly. And the results, well, they speak for themselves. Spotify, one of the most successful music streaming companies out there, constantly delivering new features, improvements that users love, a testament to the power of agile in achieving strategic goals and staying ahead of the competition.
It's a great story. What about other companies? Any other examples of large, well-established organizations that have successfully made that shift to agile?
Absolutely. IBM, the global tech giant. They adopted agile to transform their culture, streamline processes, and become more customer-centric.
Wow, IBM, that's huge. It's impressive that a company with such a long history and vast size could make such a significant change.
It wasn't easy, but they saw the writing on the wall. They needed to adapt to the changing technology world. They implemented agile practices across the organization, and it helped them speed up development cycles, improve software quality, and increase customer satisfaction.
Agile helped IBM become more efficient, effective, and customer-focused. It's like teaching an old dog new tricks.
It shows that agile, it's not just for startups or tech companies. It can benefit any organization as long as they're willing to embrace change and continuous improvement.
I love that. Okay, one more. What about Atlassian, the Australian software company known for their strong agile culture? What's their story?
Oh, Atlassian's a fantastic example. They've fully embraced agile from the very beginning. They've created a work environment where teams are self-organizing, communication is open, and continuous improvement is just part of their DNA.
Wow, sounds like they've really built their whole company culture around agile principles.
They have, and it's a big part of their success. They've attracted and retained top talent, created a collaborative and innovative work environment, and consistently deliver high-quality products.
They're killing it.
They are. Atlassian shows that embracing agile, it leads to business success, but also a more fulfilling work experience for everyone.
It's about creating a culture where people feel valued, empowered, excited to contribute. Those are some inspiring stories for sure. They show how powerful agile can be, how it can really transform organizations and achieve remarkable results.
They really do. They demonstrate that agile is not just a buzzword. It's a powerful approach that can help organizations of all sizes in all industries achieve amazing things.
But let's be real, agile is not a magic bullet. It takes effort, commitment, a willingness to embrace change, and constant improvement.
You're absolutely right. Agile, it's a journey, not a destination. And it requires that ongoing learning, adaptation, a commitment to constantly getting better.
So, for those ready to embrace the power of agile, start small, experiment, learn from mistakes, never stop improving. Maybe your company will be the next inspiring agile success story.
The possibilities are endless. Now, when we come back for part 3, we're going to delve into the world of agile coaching. We'll explore how to guide and support teams on their agile journey, helping them overcome those challenges, unlock their full potential. It's going to be great.
Okay, we're back for the final part of our Agile Deep Dive. We've covered a lot, the principles, the frameworks, the challenges, even those inspiring success stories. But now I'm curious about, well, the people who help guide teams on this whole Agile journey. That's where Agile coaches come in, right?
Yeah, agile coaches, they're essential. They help teams transition to agile and really thrive in that environment.
So they're like, what, mentors? Guide?
You could say that. They're like Sherpas, leading teams through the sometimes tricky terrain of agile transformation.
I like that analogy. So they're not just like agile gurus just dispensing wisdom.
It's not about dispensing wisdom. It's about empowering the teams, helping them find their own way, their own agile path.
Gotcha. So it's more about guiding, not dictating.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A good agile coach, they help teams understand the principles, adopt the practices, and overcome those obstacles that pop up along the way.
Makes sense. So what does an agile coach actually do? What are their daily responsibilities?
Well, it depends. It really varies from team to team, organization to organization. But generally, an agile coach wears a lot of hats.
Right, they're multi-talented.
They might facilitate workshops, training sessions, helping teams really grasp those core agile concepts, or they might observe the teams in action, giving feedback on their collaboration, communication, workflow, all that.
So they're kind of like agile observers, analyzing how the team works together and suggesting ways to, tweak things, improve the dynamics.
Exactly. And sometimes they might guide teams in implementing specific agile frameworks, whether it's Scrum, Kanban, XP, whatever fits. But again, there's no one size fits all. A good coach adapts to the team's needs, their culture, and where they are on their agile journey.
Right. Everyone's different. Different needs, different starting points.
Exactly. It's like, coaching in sport. You wouldn't train a beginner the same way you train an Olympian.
Makes sense. You got to tailor the approach. Now, this book we've been talking about, it highlights some pretty cool stories of how agile coaching really helped teams transform, get amazing results. What were some of the standout examples?
Oh, there were a few. One that sticks out is about this software developer. We'll call him John. John was having a tough time with Agile.
Really? Why? What was the issue?
He was so used to a traditional workplace, very hierarchical. Adjusting to the collaborative, self-organizing style of Agile was a struggle.
Yeah, that could be a big adjustment for some people.
It was for John. So he got paired with an Agile coach. And through those regular coaching sessions, John started to see the benefits of Agile, how it could actually apply to his work.
So the coaching helped him shift his mindset.
Exactly. It was a mental shift. And what was great, he actually learned to work better in a team, communicate more openly, embrace change instead of fighting it.
Wow, that's a great example of how coaching can really help someone unlock their potential, embrace Agile. But it's not just individual growth, right? It's about the whole team transforming.
Oh, for sure. There's another story in the book about a development team that was constantly missing deadlines, struggling with quality. They were always putting out fires, working late, super stressed, just, not happy.
That sounds rough. It's like they were stuck in a rut doing the same things over and over, but expecting different results.
Exact. So they brought in an Agile coach.
Okay, what did the coach do?
Well, they worked with the team to implement Scrum, daily stand-ups, sprint planning, those retrospectives we talked about. It all helped the team become more collaborative, more efficient.
So they had a framework, but also someone to help them really navigate and make the most of it.
Exact. It's about having that support, that guidance. And the results, well, they spoke for themselves. They started delivering high-quality software much faster. It was a win-win for the whole organization.
That's awesome. Sometimes all it takes is the right guidance, a fresh perspective to turn things around. But Agile coaching, it's not just about frameworks and processes. It's about helping people become more agile in their thinking, their approach to work in general.
100%. It's a mindset shift. The book even talks about this individual contributor. We can call her Sarah. Sarah used Kanban to really streamline her work, boost her productivity.
Okay, I'm all ears. How did Kanban help Sarah specifically?
Well, Sarah was overwhelmed. Too many tasks, constantly switching between projects, struggling to prioritize. Just felt like she was always behind.
I think everyone can relate to that feeling.
It's a common one. So she decided to try Kanban.
Okay, good idea.
Created a visual board, columns for different stages of work, to do, in progress, done. Wrote all her tasks on sticky notes, put them in the right columns.
So she visualized her workload, which helps a lot when you feel like you're drowning in tasks.
Right. But here's the thing. She set limits on how many tasks could be in progress at once. That forced her to focus, finish one thing before moving on to the next.
It's like purposely creating a bottleneck to prevent yourself from spreading yourself too thin.
Exact. Focus is key. And it worked. She got more done in less time and felt way less stressed. Kanban helped her become more efficient, productive, and just more in control.
I love that. It shows those agile principles can be applied anywhere, any type of work, not just software.
Totally. And you don't need to be a certified coach to benefit. Anyone can embrace the principle, start experimenting.
It's about being open, trying new things, seeing what sticks.
Exact. That's the agile spirit. Continuous improvement, adaptability, focus on delivering value.
Well said.
Yeah.
Well, folks, that brings us to the end of our Agile deep dive. We've explored it all. The history, principles, methodologies, the good, the bad, the people involved.
It's been quite a journey, filled with insights, practical stuff you can actually use. Hopefully you're feeling inspired to embrace agile, maybe even transform how you work and live.
Yeah, give it a shot. And if you want to go even deeper, really nerd out on Agile, check out the book we've been referencing throughout these episodes.
It's packed with real-world examples, practical advice you can actually apply.
Perfect. So go for it. Embrace the Agile mindset. Never stop iterating, improving, delivering value. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Keep learning, keep adapting, and keep crushing it.